Ever wondered what the Slavs were like before firearms? Have you ever wondered how a pump-action shotgun works? So let's start from the basics. What can we find on the outside of a pump-action shotgun? Obviously, what catches everyone's eye is the trigger on the trigger. I don't know if you can see it. Here it is. There's also a safety. You can see a button that goes on both sides. Obviously, this thing can be the same as my other Remington 870s. It can be different on other types of rifles. Obviously, we have the pump that is connected to the action through these bars on both sides, in this case. And it is clear to us the bolt with the ejection window when we operate the pump. The bolt opens, the hammer is rearmed, and the weapon is ready after ejecting a shell to accept a new shot. Notice that a lever has appeared that wasn't there before, here. At this moment, I can't open the pump, because this is an extra safety measure. Since in theory, now the round in the chamber and the hammer cocked if I were to fire a shot, but for some reason the breech is not properly closed, the result would be catastrophic. So there's an extra lock, in a nutshell, that prevents me from opening the breech unless the hammer is uncocked, that is, the shot has been fired, to instead open it manually. If I have to do it for some reason, I have to press in. Once pressed in, the breech opens without any problem. Inside the action, we see many interesting things that we will then look at more closely. As soon as we disassemble the weapon, it clarifies how all the pieces inside work. Here we see another very important element of the pump-action shotgun, which is the elevator. Much happens around the elevator. Essentially, it's the element that allows us to bring the ammunition from the tube under the barrel, in this case, upside down, so it's above the barrel itself. In the backward movement of the pump, we don't see it. But a round is ejected from the magazine, it's placed on the elevator. In the forward movement, the elevator, you'll see very quickly it does, because it's spring-loaded, it raises the cartridge, it's taken by the bolt. You see the yellow, that's the element that pushes the cartridges, the elevator still in the lowered position. Here it has risen. There it is. How it pushes forward, there it jumps high, presenting a new ammunition and lowers again. All these operations, that is the expulsion of the ammunition and the operation of the elevator at the right time, are all activated by flat springs of the surfaces inside the action. Let's now proceed a bit to a disassembly to show you better how a pump-action rifle works. The big hands prevent you from seeing what's happening. I unscrew this tube cover, and by slightly opening the breech, I can remove the barrel. The beauty of these barrels is that they are essentially interchangeable, and very quickly I can choose the barrel suitable for my needs. A shorter one for home defense, a longer one for hunting. Let's put the barrel aside, we don't need it for now. And moving the pump forward. We can get these other pieces out. The shutter that inside has the striker and the locking block. Do you see it rising here? This is what closes the weapon so that it's safe to shoot. Then on the one connected to the handle, we have two operating levers that, as you can see, don't go anywhere except to move this piece that slides over these two levers called the bolt carrier. And the bolt carrier is essentially the part responsible for all those actions we've seen, which closes and opens the shutter. Inside you can better see the elevator and the various surfaces that operate it. Unfortunately, this whole mechanism is a bit complicated to disassemble. I don't feel like playing with small pieces right now, so let's leave it. Just know that here you can see, for example, one of the surfaces, one of the springs that is depressed when the shutter slides behind it. How does the closure work? This is the barrel head down at this moment, specifically. Here, as you can see, there is essentially a step. The shutter, in this case, always head, is down. Poor thing, it's going to fit in here, as you can see. What causes and triggers the closure of the weapon is the actuator port. It's no coincidence that if I put it under where it should be, it opens and closes. This surface, when positioned against that step we saw in the barrel, is what causes the closure. The shutter as it goes forward has no resistance, especially the surface of the gun above makes it a single block. But when there is a void, when does that void appear above? I'm not putting force on the shutter, but on the actuator port that, continuing to go forward, will raise the piece and cause the complete closure of the weapon. On the back of the shutter we have the firing pin that is hit by the internal hammer and in turn will make the firing pin protrude from the other side, thus detonating the ammunition. To reassemble it doesn't take that much. I just put the shutter port with the shutter. I have to do it. All of this, vertically I push it in, and at some point it gets stuck. I have to put my hand inside. And one of the levers that prevents the ammunition from coming out of the magazine, it has to be manually depressed. Here it is, and here it is in its place. I can now put the barrel back the same way I took it off. And the weapon is ready for use again. If you look closely, you will see the locking block that rises and falls with the movement of the bolt. Watch how I open it just now. The bolt cannot move, but the bolt carrier can. The bolt carrier moves and lowers the locking block. Same thing as I go forward, I bring it forward and there it reappears. I hope this step-by-step video has explained to you how it works mechanically. Inside is a pump-action rifle. Sorry, maybe if the images are not the best, but it's the first time that I essentially put the camera in this way. I'm trying to give a technical explanation, or I watch the rifle now or watch the camera, since I still need to adjust. But anyway, I hope you liked it, and it was very educational. See you next time.